With a devilish smirk, she grabbed a tiny pickle from the snack table and held it up for everyone to see. Laughter was already out of control, but she wasn't done. Then, raising her glass like she was making a toast, she said, "We all know why men love those huge cars. Classic overcompensation. The bigger the car, the smaller the well, you get it." Yeah, that was my wife. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'll tell you everything. You know that feeling when you're sure you've found the one? Yeah, I had that. I married this unbelievably magnetic girl named Ashley. And when I say magnetic, I mean she could walk into a room and instantly own it. People just naturally gravitated toward her. You know the type. Full of energy, sharp-witted. The kind of charm that gets under your skin in the best way possible. I was completely hooked. But here's the thing. Maybe we rushed into marriage. It's easy to overlook small warning signs when you're caught up in the honeymoon phase, right? Spoiler alert. Those little warning signs? Yeah, they don't stay little. They grow into full-blown red flags. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You'll see soon enough. At the time, we were both young, ambitious, and eager to take on life. I had just landed an amazing job, one I had been working toward for years, and I was ready to focus on building my future, both professionally and personally. Everything felt like it was falling into place. We even found this dream rental, a beautiful house with a lush green lawn and a perfect backyard for barbecues. Ashley and I were so excited that we decided to throw a housewarming party. Just a casual get-together, friends, barbecue, a few drinks. It was shaping up to be a great night. But a few days before the party, things took a turn. Ashley and I had a disagreement. Actually, scratch that. It was more of a standoff. We were talking about cars. Our old ones were on their last legs, basically falling apart, and we both agreed it was time to upgrade. Maybe even take out a loan for a new one. Simple enough, right? Nope. I had my heart set on a Toyota 4Runner. A solid, reliable SUV. I could already picture us loading it up for weekend camping trips, hauling all our gear with no problem. Plus, it was practical. Plenty of space for groceries, furniture, whatever life threw at us. It just made sense. But Ashley? Oh no. She was dead set on something flashy, a sports car, or a convertible. Her reasoning? Life's too short to drive boring cars. She didn't care about practicality. She wanted something that would turn heads, something people would envy. That was it. We were stuck in a back and forth where neither of us would budge. We didn't yell or anything, but the tension was thick. In the end, we agreed to put the conversation on hold until after the party. But here's the thing about Ashley. Compromise isn't exactly her thing. When she sets her mind on something, she doesn't just go for it. She bulldozes her way through. I thought we had hit pause on the argument, but I was so wrong. Fast forward a few hours. The party was in full swing. Guests were arriving. The house was buzzing with energy, laughter, clinking glasses, music, the smell of barbecue in the air. Everything seemed perfect. I started to relax, thinking maybe the worst was behind us. Oh, how naive I was. At first, it was exactly the kind of night I had hoped for. People were having fun, chatting about everything from travel plans to movies to, of course, who makes the best barbecue sauce. It was laid back, easygoing. I thought we were in the clear. Then Ashley got that look in her eye. You know, the one that says, "I'm about to stir the pot." And oh man, did she ever. She poured herself another glass of wine, let out this dramatic sigh like she had just survived a major life crisis, and then, loud enough for the whole backyard to hear, she said, "So, Stanley and I had a huge fight about cars the other day. I swear, we nearly killed each other over it. No clue how we're gonna settle this one." The chatter died down a little. Everyone loves a bit of drama, right? She continued, clearly loving the attention. I wanted something stylish, like a convertible. You know, the kind of car where you feel the wind in your hair, the sun on your face, just pure freedom. But Stanley? She scoffed. Oh no, he's all about practicality. We need a big car, he says. Something spacious. Practical. Seriously? She rolled her eyes so dramatically I could practically hear them turning. Then she raised her glass like she was making a toast and said, "We all know why men want these huge cars. It's the classic compensation move. The bigger the car, the smaller the well, you know what I mean. The backyard erupted with laughter. One guy even smacked the table and shouted, "Exactly why I drive a smart car, if you catch my drift." I forced a smile, but my face was burning. And Ashley? Oh, she wasn't done. Not even close. With a devilish grin, she reached over to the snack table, picked up a tiny pickle, and held it up for everyone to see. The laughter was already out of control, but she wasn't finished. "For example, this," she said, wiggling the pickle between her fingers. "This is what we're talking about, folks. This is what's under the hood of these guys' giant trucks." The crowd lost it. A couple of my friends literally fell out of their chairs. Even Carol, Ashley's best friend, was wiping tears from her eyes. "Ashley, you're a comedy genius," she gasped between laughs. Meanwhile, I sat there, my jaw clenched so tight I thought I might crack a tooth. I was livid. But nope, the humiliation train wasn't stopping there. That's when Daisy, one of Ashley's friends, pulled out her phone and started scrolling through Instagram. "Oh, honey," she said with a smirk, "if the problem's that small, there's a solution. Look, here's a plastic surgeon who specializes in male enhancements. 5 stars. Tons of followers." The guys at the party were literally rolling on the ground at this point. One of them wheezed out, "Stanley, maybe it's time to schedule an appointment." "And Ashley?" She smirked and fired back without missing a beat. "Well, I don't think we can afford that right now. First, we gotta get my dream convertible. But who knows? Maybe one day. In the meantime, my therapist says I need to work on patience, so I guess I'll just have to wait until we pay off the car loan." More laughter. More jokes. It felt like a firing squad of humiliation. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to get the hell out of there before I said something I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to get the hell out of there before I said something I couldn't take back. I stood up, walked out to the grill, and started messing with the barbecue. It was the only way I could keep myself from snapping. But of course, one of the guys, Mason I think, followed me out, still chuckling like an idiot. "Hey man, don't take it so seriously. We're just messing around. You good?" I didn't even look at him. I just kept flipping the burgers and muttered through gritted teeth, "Yeah, sure. I'm fine, totally fine." Mason laughed and clapped me on the shoulder. "Come on, dude. Don't be like that. You're the king of pickles now." That did it. I spun around, spat out, "You can all go to hell. I'm fine. Okay? There's nothing wrong with me." Mason just grinned, unfazed. Yeah. We believe you, Mr. Pickle." I could hear more laughter coming from the house. My fists clenched involuntarily. I wasn't just angry anymore. I was humiliated. And the worst part? The person who was supposed to have my back was leading the charge. I don't know how I made it through the rest of that party without blowing up. People kept patting me on the back, cracking more stupid jokes. Finally, everyone started leaving. When the door shut behind the last guest, I turned to Ashley. "What the hell was that?" I asked, my voice shaking with anger. "Why would you humiliate me like that?" Ashley blinked at me like I just asked her why the sky was blue. She wasn't apologetic. Hell, she wasn't even taking me seriously. Instead, she gave this lazy half-smirk and said, "Oh, come on, Stanley. It was just jokes. Everyone was having fun." I stared at her in disbelief. "Fun? You call that fun? You turned me into a goddamn punchline, Ashley." She sighed like I was being a huge buzzkill. Then, with that same carefree attitude, she added, "Well, at least everyone got the metaphor about the big car. So I hope you understand now. We need a convertible." My jaw dropped. That was it? She dragged me through the mud in front of all our friends just to push her agenda for a new car. Wait a minute. So you're telling me that, just to push the idea of getting a convertible, you thought it was okay to humiliate me and make me a laughingstock? She gave a tired chuckle and waved a hand, like I was blowing this out of proportion. "Oh, Stanley, stop being so sensitive. It was funny. Everyone was laughing. You need to learn to take a joke and develop some self-irony." "Self-irony? Are you serious?" I fired back. "Ashley, you didn't just tease me. You made me look like some kind of insecure loser with, I don't even want to say it. And now everyone thinks I've got complexes about, you know?" Ashley just rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. It's not like it's a lie. I mean, I've seen bigger. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. What did you just say? I asked slowly. Seen bigger? What the hell is that supposed to mean? When exactly did you see bigger? She laughed nervously, waving me off. Relax. I'm joking. Don't take it so seriously. You're so wound up tonight. Ashley, do you have any idea how messed up this is? You think it's funny to make your husband look pathetic in front of everyone? When you humiliate me, you humiliate yourself. You're disrespecting me and our marriage. And your jokes? They're not just jokes. They're straight-up insults. You're crossing every line here. For a moment I thought maybe, just maybe, my words would get through to her. But no. Instead she yawned and gave me a look that said she was done with the conversation. Oh, stop whining, Stanley. I'm exhausted. Let's just go to bed. Okay? I don't need a lecture on behavior right now. With that, she turned and headed up the stairs, leaving me standing there like an idiot. I stayed in the living room, too pissed off to follow her. I grabbed a blanket, threw myself on the couch, and stared at the ceiling. This wasn't the Ashley I thought I married. Or maybe it was. Maybe I just hadn't seen this side of her until now. The charming, fun-loving girl I fell for was gone, replaced by someone cold, dismissive, and ruthless. Sleep didn't come easy that night. The image of Ashley's smug face and the sound of her voice, I've seen bigger, kept replaying in my head like a broken record. The days after that party felt heavy, like I was dragging an invisible weight everywhere I went. Ashley's words and that damn pickle joke echoed in my mind at the worst moments, but I didn't bring it up again. Work had piled up, and I was drowning in deadlines. I thought maybe if I gave it a little time, Ashley would realize she had crossed a line. Spoiler alert, she didn't. Weeks passed, and I was so buried in work that I didn't even notice Ashley was up to something. That is, until I heard the unmistakable sound of a brand new engine pulling into our driveway. I stepped outside, coffee in hand, and nearly dropped the mug. There it was. A brand new, fire red BMW 4 Series convertible. And not just any red, Vegas red metallic. Ashley hopped out like she was stepping onto a red carpet, her face glowing with excitement. Surprise, babe. Isn't she gorgeous? I just stood there, stunned. My brain struggled to process what I was looking at. How had she pulled this off without even mentioning it to me? Ashley, what is this? I finally managed to ask. She beamed, running her hand over the sleek hood. It's my dream car, remember? We talked about this. The convertible? Talked about it? No. We argued about it. And I was very clear. We were not on the same page. You bought this? I asked, my voice slow and deliberate. Well, yeah. Someone had to make a decision. I couldn't let this opportunity slip by. I felt my anger rising. You couldn't let it slip by? Ashley, do you even hear yourself? You just dropped $65,000 on a car without even telling me. She raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. Stanley, we've been over this. We needed a new car. And it's not like I bought it outright. I put down a deposit and financed the rest. I blinked. Wait, you financed it? With what money? Her eyes flicked to the side, just for a second. But that was all I needed. You used our joint account, didn't you? I said, my voice tightening. Ashley didn't even try to deny it. Of course I did. It's our account, Stanley. We're married. This is our life, our dream. I just set up automatic payments. It's no big deal. No big deal? I was shaking now. Ashley, you drained our account to buy a luxury car we didn't even agree on. You didn't ask me. You just went ahead and did it. Like my opinion doesn't matter at all. She crossed her arms, giving me that you're overreacting look. Oh, stop being so dramatic. I'm your wife. Don't you want me to be happy? I stared at her, stunned. Are you seriously justifying this by saying I should accept whatever you want? Ashley sighed, like she was dealing with a child. Stanley, you're overthinking this. Nothing bad happened. I got my dream car, and now I'm happy. Isn't that what matters? I took a deep breath, trying to keep my temper in check. No, Ashley. What matters is mutual respect. You didn't consult me. You don't care about my input, my opinion. She rolled her eyes. Oh my God, Stanley. You sound like you're stuck in the 1950s. Look, your dad might have run his house like some patriarch, but newsflash. It's a new world. Women can make decisions now. It's not a big deal. I froze. For a second, my parents flashed through my mind. My mom and dad respected each other. They made decisions together. That wasn't being old-fashioned. That was basic decency. Ashley, this isn't about gender roles. It's about partnership. You don't just bulldoze your way through decisions and expect me to smile about it. She shrugged. Stanley, seriously? Chill. You're making this a way bigger issue than it needs to be. Nothing's wrong. So why are you so worked up? I didn't even have words. I just stood there, fists clenching and unclenching, because every instinct in me screamed that this wasn't sustainable. If Ashley couldn't even acknowledge there was a problem, then where did that leave us? As she walked back inside, humming to herself like she hadn't just detonated our marriage, I stayed outside. My mind raced with questions. Is this how it's always going to be? Am I just supposed to shut up and accept being treated like this? Can a marriage survive without respect? The answers weren't comforting. For the first time, the word divorce crossed my mind. I never thought I'd be the type to consider it, but here I was. Because I couldn't keep living like this. Not with someone who didn't care about my feelings, my input, or the concept of partnership. What the hell do I do now? But before you find out what happens next, subscribe to the channel. Divorce. The word hung over me like a dark cloud. It's funny how life flips on you. One minute, you're convinced you've found your forever person. The next, you're standing in your own driveway, questioning everything. But divorce isn't something you just jump into. Your brain floods with questions. Am I giving up too easily? Should I fight harder for this marriage? Can you even fix something if the other person doesn't think anything's wrong? Marriage is supposed to be a partnership, right? But how do you make that work when your partner doesn't respect you? I know some of you are probably shaking your heads like, dude, what are you even waiting for? And yeah, I get it. In hindsight, I probably look like the biggest idiot for dragging this out. Hell, go ahead and call me an idiot in the comments. Hey, Stanley, how many incidents has Ashley pulled so far? Count 'em up. And while I was stuck in my own philosophical crisis, Ashley decided to up the ante. After Ashley bought that red BMW, things started to change. She was out more often, disappearing for hours at a time. Ashley had been loving that red BMW. Every chance she got, she'd be out with her friends, brunch, shopping, cruising around like she was in an episode of The Real Housewives. Annoying? Sure. But the real problem came in the form of a social media stunt. Ashley and her friends thought it would be hilarious to make TikToks and Instagram videos where they'd pull up to random guys on the street and hit on them. Yeah, just picture that. They'd roll down the window, yell things like, "Hey cutie, need a ride?" Or, "Hop in. We're going for a wild night." It was meant to be a parody of those sleazy guys who hit on women from sports cars. But instead of being funny, it was just weird and cringy. I found the videos on Instagram, and trust me, you had to see it to believe it. Some of the guys looked completely thrown off, blushing, stammering, laughing awkwardly. Others played along, grinning like idiots. A few even hopped in the damn car. Maybe it was all staged for views. Maybe those guys were in on it. But I didn't care. The point was, I had to find out about this from the internet. Ashley didn't even bother to tell me. I slammed my phone down and rubbed my temples. This wasn't about a couple of dumb videos. This was about respect, or the complete lack of it. So when Ashley walked in that evening, all smiles, I was done holding back. I stood in the living room, arms crossed. "We need to talk." She gave me a puzzled look, then dropped her purse on the couch and kicked off her shoes. Oof, what's going on? Those videos, Ashley, the ones where you and your friends were catcalling random guys off the street. What the hell were you thinking? She blinked in surprise for a moment before laughing. Oh my God, you're talking about the TikToks? Seriously? Come on, Stanley, it's just for fun. It's content, creativity for views. There's nothing bad about it. I took a deep breath. You didn't even tell me about it. I had to find out through social media. Why didn't you say anything? Ashley shrugged, clearly not seeing the issue. Why would I need to tell you? I'm not obligated to give you a play-by-play of every little thing I do. Ashley, this isn't little. You're out there flirting with random guys on camera for the world to see. Do you know how embarrassing that is? She raised an eyebrow. Embarrassing? Oh, please. It's not like I'm cheating on you. We're just filming reactions. That's the point. It's authentic. Real reactions from random people on the street. Some of them play along, sure, but there's nothing illegal about that. Wait, you're telling me those guys in the videos are real? Like, not actors? You're actually picking up random dudes and driving them around? She waved a hand dismissively. Relax, Stanley. Yeah, a few of them hopped in the car. We talked, laughed. That's it. It's harmless. You're acting like I'm running a criminal operation or something. Ashley, you don't get it, do you? You're putting yourself and our marriage on display like it's a joke. Ashley rolled her eyes and sighed, clearly bored with the conversation. God, you're so uptight. You need to lighten up. That was it. I couldn't argue anymore. What was the point? She wasn't going to listen. What was the point? I grabbed my keys, walked past her without another word, and got in my car. I needed space. I ended up at a bar a few miles away, one of those quiet places where no one asks questions. I ordered a whiskey, sat at the counter, and just stared at the glass for a while. A tea that moment. I knew there was no fixing this. Ashley didn't respect me. Hell, she didn't even see me as her partner. It was all about her dreams, her fun, her life. And I was just an accessory. Then, one evening, I was scrolling through my phone when I stumbled upon one of her TikTok videos. One that she hadn't bothered to show me. Ashley was in her BMW, laughing, tossing her hair like she was in a damn car commercial. But she wasn't alone. There was a guy sitting in the passenger seat. At first, I thought, okay, maybe it's just one of her influencer friends. But then I noticed how close they were sitting, the way she kept touching his arm, the playful way she bit her lip while looking at him. And then, just as he leaned in a little too much, the video cut off. My stomach twisted. I wanted to believe I was overreacting. And then, the universe decided to confirm my worst fears. A few days later, I was at work, grabbing coffee in the break room, when my colleague, Marcus, casually mentioned something that made my blood run cold. Man, I had the best steak at La Bella last night. You been there? Fancy as hell. Anyway, I saw this stunning woman there. Red dress, killer smile. She was with some guy. Real cozy, candlelight and everything. Honestly, they looked like one of those perfect couples out of a movie. I wasn't really listening until he added. Her name was Ashley, I think. Sounded familiar. You know her? The air left my lungs. He continued telling the story. You know, now that I think about it, she kinda looks familiar. I feel like I might have seen her with you once, but I can't say for sure. I forced a neutral expression and shrugged. Yeah, something like that. I barely made it back to my office before the realization hit me like a freight train. Ashley hadn't just been flirting for content. She had a whole damn side relationship. That night, I waited for her to come home. She walked in, all smiles, carrying shopping bags like she had just won the lottery. Hey babe, you won't believe the deals I found today. Who was he? I cut her off. My voice was calm, but my hands were clenched into fists at my sides. Ashley froze for a split second. Then she let out a fake laugh. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone, opened the TikTok video, and hit play. Her face changed. Oh my God, Stanley, are you seriously stalking my content now? It's just a video. I didn't blink. Then how do you explain La Bella? Romantic dinner, candlelight, cozy conversation. Sound familiar? My colleague Marcus told me that he saw you with some guy. That wiped the smirk off her face. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She was caught, and she knew it. For a long moment, there was just silence. Then, she did what she always did. Tried to laugh it off. Okay, wow. You're really overreacting. Marcus must have seen someone who looked like me, because I was not at La Bella last night. Oh, so now Marcus is lying? I mean, maybe he was just mistaken. Jesus, Stanley, you're so paranoid. Even if I did have dinner with someone, it was totally innocent. I stared at her. You've been sneaking around for weeks. You're constantly out late, hiding your phone, making videos where you basically throw yourself at other guys. And now you're out having romantic dinners? Don't insult my intelligence, Ashley. She rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. So what? Even if I did go to dinner with someone, that doesn't mean anything. Men and women can be friends, you know? I let out a bitter laugh. Yeah? Then what's his name? She opened her mouth, closed it, then looked away. I shook my head. That's what I thought. I pulled out my phone and started searching for divorce attorneys. I found a highly rated lawyer and shot them a message, asking for a consultation. We scheduled a meeting for the next day. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I was taking control. The next day, I sat across from the attorney, a middle-aged woman with a no-nonsense demeanor. I laid everything out for her. We can move forward immediately, she said, flipping through her notes. You'll want to protect your income and assets as soon as possible. I suggest opening a separate bank account and redirecting your paycheck there. If you're serious about this, we'll draft the documents and file them within the week. I nodded. Yeah, let's do it. I told my lawyer that I'm sure my wife is cheating on me, but I'm not gonna go digging for proof. What really matters is that she doesn't respect me. Cheating is just a symptom of that. And since our state follows no-fault divorce laws, meaning infidelity usually doesn't affect property division or alimony, there's no reason to try proving anything. I already know she's cheating. By the time I left her office, I had already opened a new account. No more joint expenses. If Ashley wanted to live her dream life with that BMW, she could do it on her own dime. A week later, I waited at home in the evening with the divorce papers ready. I called her a few times, but she didn't answer. She was probably out again, living it up with her friends. I had no idea how she'd react when I handed her those papers, but honestly, I didn't care anymore. By the time headlights finally lit up the driveway, it was well past midnight. I heard the sound of a car door closing and footsteps approaching. But it wasn't Ashley getting out of her red convertible. No, she called a driver to bring her home. When the door swung open, there she was, laughing, stumbling a little, clearly drunk. Hey, Stanley, you're still up? She slurred, grinning like an idiot. She kicked off her heels and staggered inside. I crossed my arms, watching her in disbelief. You've got to be kidding me. She didn't even register the irritation in my voice. Instead, she plopped down on the couch, giggling to herself like she was still at the party. Oh my God, what a night we were celebrating, babe, big milestone, 50,000 followers. Can you believe it? 50 freaking thousand. I'm gonna be famous, Steven, a big-time influencer. Soon I'll be rich and I'll be recognized on the street and then advertising contracts. I stared at her, barely able to process what she was saying. She was celebrating TikTok followers, like this was some major life achievement. My jaw clenched. Ashley, you have no idea how done I am with this. She blinked, finally noticing the seriousness in my tone. What's with the face? Chill out. You're always so serious. I shook my head and took a deep breath. It was time. I don't want to stand in the way of your fame, Ashley. So I'm filing for divorce. The room went dead silent. For a split second I thought maybe she'd snap out of it. But then she laughed. Like full-on, head thrown back laughed. Oh wow. Are you serious right now? Divorce? Over what? Because you're feeling insecure? Oh, Stanley, that's adorable. My stomach churned at the sound of her voice. This isn't a joke, Ashley. I can't do this anymore. Your behavior, your lack of respect for me, it's unbearable. You don't care about this marriage, and you don't even try to understand my point of view. She waved me off, rolling her eyes. Oh, please. You're such a delicate little flower, aren't you? You can't handle a strong, successful woman with dreams. That's your problem, Stanley boy. You're just a sad little man with a bruised ego. Men like you are a dime a dozen. I felt the anger boiling inside me, but I refused to take the bait. There was no point in arguing with her. Without another word, I turned on my heel and walked toward the guest room. Behind me, I could hear her still rambling, some mix of drunken muttering and more insults, but her words barely registered anymore. Eventually, she stumbled her way to the bedroom, and the house finally fell into silence. I lay awake on the couch, staring at the ceiling, mentally rehearsing what needed to happen next. There was no turning back now. By the time the sun rose, I was already packed. A couple of duffel bags with clothes and essentials, everything I needed to get out of this place for a while. Ashley was still passed out in the bedroom, oblivious to the fact that her husband was leaving. Maybe that was fitting. She'd ignored me emotionally for so long. Why not physically too? I grabbed my bags, locked the door behind me, and drove off. My cousin had already agreed to let me crash at his place for a bit. He didn't ask too many questions, which I appreciated. I needed time to figure things out, get my head straight, and prepare for the storm that was coming. Because once Ashley realized I was serious about the divorce, I knew all hell would break loose. But for now, I just needed peace. You'd think going through a divorce with someone like Ashley would be a hurricane of drama, right? Screaming matches, courtroom theatrics, maybe even some public meltdowns. Hell, I was bracing myself for a full-on soap opera. But the reality? It was shockingly smooth. Ashley was so high on herself, so convinced she was destined for fame and fortune, that she treated the whole process like she was the one doing me a favor. It wasn't me divorcing her. No. In her mind, she was releasing me from the privilege of being in her orbit. At the courthouse, she walked in with this confident strut, like she was on a fashion runway instead of dealing with the end of our marriage. After the judge finalized everything, Ashley even gave me this smug little grin. You know what, Stanley? I don't even need you. I'll handle all the debt and rent myself because I can. And trust me, you'll be the one envying me soon enough. Envy her? Are you kidding me? I felt a massive weight lift off my chest. No more constant disrespect. No more being dragged into her self-absorbed world. Ashley was now just a chapter in my life. A toxic chapter one was more than happy to close. Of course, Ashley had to put her spin on the whole thing. In her TikTok and Instagram posts, Ashley had to put her spin on the whole thing. In her TikTok and Instagram posts, she crafted this narrative where she was the one who left me. According to her, I was some insecure, dull man who couldn't handle her big energy and ambition. The comments under her videos were filled with thirsty dudes throwing out compliments. You're a queen, Ashley. He didn't deserve you. Want to grab coffee sometime? I guess that kind of attention fueled her even more. People could believe whatever fantasy she was selling. For the first time in a long time, I was free. That said, I'd be lying if I told you I didn't keep tabs on her once in a while. Look, I wasn't obsessed or anything. It was more like morbid curiosity. I'd occasionally check her social media just to see what kind of circus act she was running. Same old Ashley, flaunting the car, the followers, the parties. But life has a funny way of balancing the scales. You can only ride that high horse for so long before something, or someone knocks you off. And one day, Ashley met her match. Let me tell you about a little thing called karma. Karma. It's that silent force in the universe that knows when to step in and shake things up. And for Ashley? Well, it didn't take long for life to start knocking her down a few pegs. The first big blow came when her precious red BMW, the car that started all this chaos, was stolen. Yep, some maniac, probably a deranged fan or someone who'd been watching too many of her TikToks, boosted the car right out of her driveway. And get this, they didn't just steal it. They drove it like they were filming a scene from Fast and Furious and totaled it beyond recognition. The police never caught the guy. Maybe they never will. Sure, her insurance might cover some of it. But losing that car hit Ashley hard. I mean, it was her prized possession, her ultimate status symbol, and of course, in true Ashley fashion, she didn't let the whole ordeal go to waste. Instead, she turned it into content. She made videos about her tragic experience, milking every ounce of sympathy she could. And, unsurprisingly, they blew up. Her follower count spiked. She was thriving off the drama. But karma? Oh, karma wasn't finished with her yet. A few weeks later, Ashley's entire social media empire got hacked. Someone, some genius, managed to get into everything. TikTok, Instagram, you name it. And they took over. Before she knew it, her accounts were flooded with sketchy scam videos. The kind that promise easy money if you just click this link. Ashley was locked out of everything. She was devastated. She tried to start over, making new accounts, hoping to rebuild. But her momentum was gone. And the internet? It has a short attention span. One day, you're trending. The next, you're yesterday's news. When you treat life like a never-ending game of clout chasing, eventually, the game bites back. Because for the first time in years, I was actually happy. I finally bought the car I'd been dreaming of, a rugged Toyota 4Runner, and started taking weekend camping trips. And let me tell you, there's nothing like being out in nature, away from all the noise, to clear your mind. I even started a small blog, sharing photos and videos from my adventures, along with some cooking tips for making meals over an open fire. Turns out, there's a whole community of outdoor enthusiasts out there, and connecting with them has been incredible. My life was moving forward, and it felt damn good.